Hi. So today I'm just going to talk about what soul embodiment means to me, what my understanding of it is, just to try and debunk a few things and just bring this concept into this reality, ground it into the physical, rather than it being a mental concept or a word that doesn't actually mean anything. So I think a lot of there's a lot of words that get bandied about within the spiritual community, and we think we know what they mean, but actually a lot of people don't, and they become like the meaning of them becomes diluted because they become trendy, and then people use them inappropriately and use them out of context, and then they lose their power. And this is actually done by design. It's actually done deliberately to ensure that they do lose their power, because then that's what the control agenda actually wants. They don't want us to take back our power. And a lot of these words and these concepts are about taking back our power. So one of these concepts is about soul embodiment, and a lot of people think that there's a lot of misconceptions, I think, around what soul embodiment actually is, and I'm not claiming that I know 100% what it is, but I think that I've got a good idea, and I don't profess to be, far from being soul embodied myself. I think there's definitely an agenda to stop us from becoming embodied. As they don't want us to take back our power, and because if they do that, they can't control us. So I mean, I could sit and talk about this non-stop, could sit and talk about it for hours, because there's so many different aspects to it, and I don't want to start going off on a tangent. I want to sort of keep this within this. I want to keep it relevant, and I want to keep it to the point, because I think that if I start going off and getting too complicated, then I might lose people. But I could actually do a whole sort of lecture on this subject, because it's so complicated, and it's really the sort of basis of everything. And I know I've said before that divine union is, which is true, but you can't have divine union and sacred union within without actually being soul embodied, not fully anyway. So the two sort of go hand in hand, and so the soul embodiment comes first, if you know what I mean. So when we're born, we're born with embodying a certain amount of our soul essence. Some come in with more of our soul essence than others, and that depends on how evolved we are spiritually as a soul, and what our mission is here. So we all come in with a mission or a purpose, or a life purpose, or whatever the latest word for that is. Some of us have come from the future, or have come from different universe, to help people to discover their own truth. And how it should work is that then as people grow, both physically, mentally, as we grow up as children, as we're meant to be sort of nurtured and taught by our parents about living in this reality, and then life is meant to give us experiences in order to help us to grow and evolve as a human being, and our soul then integrates with our physical body, which creates an alchemy, and then that's how wisdom is formed. That's how it's created, through the alchemy of physical body doing the mental body knowing or intellectualizing, and the soul alchemizing with the three together. So it's a combination of the three. So and then as we evolve, we embody more and more of our soul energy, because our soul energy becomes one with our body, and it integrates within the cells, and it's the merging of the two, so that then we can hold more and more of our soul essence. That's how it's meant to progress. But we've been hijacked, basically. So this planet and the human race has been hijacked, and there's an agenda there to prevent us from embodying our soul. So I don't really want to go into all the details of who is behind the agenda, because you might not believe me, for one, and two, it might freak some people out. But there is definitely an agenda there, and it comes in the form of many things, but basically it's to stop us embodying our soul, because once we've embodied a certain amount of our soul energy, then we activate all of our strands of DNA. So as we become more embodied, we activate more and more strands of our DNA, and then we then have access to our spiritual gifts and our life purpose here, and we become very powerful and we can do a lot more than what we think we can now as human beings. We achieve our full potential as a human being, which basically we've got the potential to be able to do so much more than what we think we can now, and what we can do now. And there is certain agenda to stop us from doing that, because they don't want us to do that, because at the moment they're siphoning our soul energy. So our soul energy is being siphoned, and they want to control us, and they're doing that through lots of different means, through our food, so that our food is full of toxins, any toxins in the sky, the chemtrails, all gets absorbed into our body, into our cells, and then that stops us holding the light of our soul essence. And also the main thing that that this reality does is it programs us and it traumatizes us, and through trauma they try and make us disconnected from our hearts, which is where our soul essence comes in. So once we become disconnected from our hearts completely, that's it, we're disconnected from our soul, and then they have complete control over us. And same with our minds. They try and mind control through various things, through television, through through EMF waves, and through things that you would not believe if I told you, which I'm not going to do, but through some crazy shit. So yeah, they will, and if they can control our mind, then they can make control our soul, because they can make us be disconnected from our heart. So basically, that is what it's all about. The way that we, I think most people are mind controlled and don't realise it. Most people are disempowered and don't realise it. We live in a culture where in a world where we're encouraged to look outside of ourselves for answers, and to look up to people as being more powerful than us. And the truth is that there isn't anybody that is more powerful than us. We are more powerful than them, and they fear that more than anything. So we've got to deprogram ourselves and stop believing all these lies that we've been told all our lives about, that we're not powerful, that we can't do this, that we can't, that this is the reality, that this is how it's meant to be. It's not how it's meant to be. I think the world is starting to wake up to what is actually going on around us, but there's a lot of work to do yet, and the only true work that there is the inner work. And that's another word that needs to be debunked as well, because I think that's becoming quite a trendy thing to say. I hear a lot of spiritual teachers that say things like how important that the only thing there is to do the inner work, and there is no other work than the inner work. And then they'll say, oh, but follow me. Well, no, that's not how it works. You're not following anybody else, you're following yourself. That's the whole point. Or they they say things like that. They'll say there's nothing else but the inner work, but then they don't do their own inner work. Or they'll make excuses and say, oh, I'm never going to heal, or it's just this distraction. They're not saying the full truth, and they're using the right words, but they're using them out of context, and they're not walking their talk, and they're not living what they're saying is their truth. So it actually is not their truth, or they're not living in integrity. So we have to be really, really careful about who we follow, what we listen to. Discernment is really, really, really important. It's like the most important thing ever at the moment. It's like there's so many traps out there, so many distractions, and everything is sort of intricately interwoven. You can't separate any of it. It's all part of the same thing. So you can't do the inner work, as in you can't be reflective and learn from experiences and work on your own stuff completely and authentically if your body is full of crap, because that crap and those toxins in your body are going to affect your thoughts, and then your thoughts get misconstrued and get twisted, and then your interpretation of what is the inner work is going to be twisted as well. So it's everything, it's detox. We need to detox our bodies to keep our bodies clear. We need to not listen to people outside of ourselves and look up to them as more knowing and more powerful than us. We can be inspired by people, and there are a lot of people out there who hold codes, and when they speak or when they write something, it activates something, something within you to inspire you. But it's knowing the difference between what is inspire and what is giving your power away. Because I've been duped. I have, I've fallen for that one a big time, and I've learned a really hard lesson with that. And I do now know the difference, and I'm very wary of who I listen to, and I look for the clues in, some people are very good at saying all the right things, and then it might just be one little thing that's out, but that one little thing is actually quite a big thing. And that's how they work, that's how they operate, and they may not even realise they're doing this themselves. It's just like they're being used and they're being mind controlled, and they don't realise it, or they might realise it, and they might have done some deal with some people. So you may not think that this is at all, you might not even think this is relevant to you, but it actually is, because it's relevant to all of us. And there is actually a spiritual war going on, and we are all part of that war. Some of us are more a part of it than others, and some of us are waking up to how much a part of it we are. And that's all about waking up to our true purpose. And as we embody more and more of our true essence, we strip away everything that isn't us and that we've been programmed to believe is us but actually isn't, then it actually opens up a whole world of, I don't know how even to describe it. It's like you're just taking off these like glasses for the first time and these rose-coloured spectacles, and it's like, wow, this reality isn't actually real at all. Which it isn't. The real world is like what we can't see, and that is the scary part, because the things that we can't see actually have more control over us than we realise. And once you can see that, and you can see how it infiltrates every area of our lives, then you can sort of step back a little bit and you can think, well, actually, I don't want to be part of that, or I can see what's going on there and I choose something different. And it's sort basically that's what it's all about. It's about recognising what is really going on, and living your life with purpose and on purpose and with self-awareness. So a lot of it is all about being self-aware. And once you do that, you then can hold more and more of your soul essence, and then things start changing around you, because it literally does. And it's like sometimes how can I give an example? You just realise how asleep you've been, but you also realise how asleep everybody else is. And that's not derogatory, because people can't help it, but it's once So I thought for many years, and I was told this, and this was a huge deception, because this was, I'm sure that this must have been done deliberately, that I can't be mind controlled. And I can't, to a point. I have always, not always, but I have had for about 10 years, I've had this awareness that things are not as we think they are, and that there is a deception out there. But the worst thing that I could have thought was that I can't be mind controlled, because that means that you are actually being mind controlled. And it really does. And it doesn't mean that they control every aspect of your thoughts, because you'd be a robot then. But that is their ultimate aim. They want to turn people into robots. And you can see that, that's not that hard to see really, when you look at how technology is advancing, and then the introduction of the robot in Saudi Arabia that is actually being granted citizenship. So, but they can mind control you to a point, to prevent you from reaching your full potential. And that is what they're doing. They're preventing people reaching their full potential and embodying their full soul essence to their full, so that they can achieve their full potential, because they don't want us to take back our power. So then they will mislead you into thinking that you aren't being mind controlled, and that is your full potential, or that you that you might know that you're stuck, but you might not realize why you're stuck. So I think my point really is that you don't listen to what's going on in here, because that will mislead you every single time. You have to listen to what's going on in here, and listen to what's going on in your gut as well. It's your body that will tell you what is the right thing and what's really going on. And once you learn how to listen to your body, then it will never mislead you. Your mind will, because that can be controlled, but your body can't, and your heart can't. So yeah. So that's really all I want to say about soul embodiment. I don't know if anybody's got any thoughts about that, but it's an interesting topic, and it's actually probably the most important topic on this planet at the moment, because that is what this agenda is trying to prevent. And that is what the ascension, people sort of talk about ascension. That is what ascension is. It's embodying your soul. It's not going to some sort of faraway place and sitting on a cloud somewhere. That's just being stupid. The whole point of being here is that we bring our soul essence into this reality. That is the transformation. That is the changing the 5D, because it's our soul that actually alchemizes and changes the reality. We are the co-creators. We are the creators. We have that creative power and that potential, but it's only by bringing in that soul. It's not about law of attraction or any of that shit. It's about bringing in your soul essence, so that it's your soul that is the creative force, so that then you can combine that with and alchemize it in your body, and then co-create with nature, which obviously nature's all around us. But yeah, that's a whole different topic, and I don't want to get into that now. But yeah, once you start embodying your soul, then everything around you starts changing, and I have experienced it to quite a profound level at times. So I have been shown that, but it's maintaining that, and it's yeah, it's being in that space and holding that space and maintaining that people call it vibration. I think that has become excuse me, misconstrued as well. But anyway, it's about holding your soul essence and embodying, and not just occasionally. It's like being able to maintain that most of the time. So anyway, I'm going to go now. So thank you for listening to me, and if you've got any questions or any comments that you want to make about this, and please feel free to comment in the bottom. Okay, bye.